Hi there. Welcome to our latest episode of Ask a Fractional. My name is Jillian Middlemark, and I'm joined today by my co-hosts, Dave Bonfilio and Corey Hanscombe. And together we've created a group called Ask a Fractional. And the purpose of our group is to bring awareness of the power of fractional resources and how they can support growing businesses. So we've launched a series of podcasts to ask other fractionals and also the businesses that support fractionals about their role in the fractional space and how they can support the fractional community. So today we are joined by Ryan Soul and Pete Sampson with Cleveland Benefit Partners. And Ryan and Pete are specialists in the benefit space and in particular PEOs. So Pete and Ryan, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I think, why don't we start with just some general background? I'd love to hear about, your journey in the benefit space, in particular, how you support businesses with their benefits packaging and PEOs. I understand you both have a kind of a specialty in PEOs. And if you could talk to us about what a PEO is, some of our listeners might not understand what that is. So we'd love to just get a definition of that and how you work in that space.
Well, maybe what I can do is give a quick description of who we are, and then maybe Ryan, you can chat a little bit about the PEO side. Yeah, so Cleveland Benefit Partners, we're a third generation family owned employee benefit agency. It was started in 1988 by actually my grandfather and my uncle. And so I don't know, we have about 15 employees. We've done employee benefits. I came aboard probably 4 years ago, and Ryan is actually we worked together. We were kind of a past relationship. And so I brought him aboard because Ryan is very good at, he was just really good at what he did back at the last place we were together on. So he and I partnered together. So that's a little bit of information about us and PEOs, Ryan. You do a good job of explaining those.
Yeah, so a PEO, I think maybe people might be more familiar with some of the PEO companies. Insperity is a big one. Trinet, ADP Total Source, those are all PEOs. And what a PEO is it's actually a co-employment model for small businesses. You actually share a tax ID with the PEO, and it helps companies, smaller companies, attract and retain talent by getting access to larger benefits at a reduced cost because you're able to enter the other company's medical pool or like dental pool and things like that. So you can get access to large Fortune 500 level benefits for a small company that maybe wouldn't have access to them before. And it really helps in, it helps small businesses to attract and retain employees that maybe they wouldn't be able to otherwise.
Hey guys, what is it? Tell me about the profile of business that you guys really like to work with. What's the sweet spot for the kinds of companies that you can bring a lot of value to?
Yeah, typically, especially for the PEO, because there's a couple other important things that PEO does as well that we'll touch on. But usually it's that small business, kind of that maybe, I don't know, you have 20 employees, 10 employees, where you're just now starting to grow. And what happens is with that, you add a lot of HR complexities. You add a lot of, there's just more regulation. There's benefits that you're not really big enough to get and scaling issues, right, with your workforce. And so that's the companies that we work best for. PEOs also, aside from benefits, what they do with that co-employment model is it's essentially it's outsourced HR. They handle all of your HR function. So they handle your compliance, they handle onboarding, offboarding. Basically, one person can do the job of what it would take maybe a larger HR staff to do. They also, because they handle the compliance and things, it actually takes that compliance burden off of the employer. So you can focus on doing your business and growth and making your product or selling what you sell without having to deal with the HR side. So the companies that we work best for certainly are those kind of that size group where it's like, okay, we're ready to scale. We want to grow. We want to, that's who we work best with.
Is there anything on the hiring side then that would help a company to be able to attract better talent? Do you help them with maybe some of their messaging for what's available in terms of benefits that they can start to offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So ultimately, the company is going to be in charge of like the day-to-day hiring. In that sense, the PEOs do have resources to help you market and advertise your jobs. They'll help you with job descriptions and kind of help you with that day-to-day attracting and retaining that talent that you're looking to hire. They won't actually um, they won't do like the actual interview for you, but they can help you do some of the basic screenings of what you're looking for your employees.
Yeah, and then we also do a good job at coaching the the employers on how to really get that message out, especially around the benefits, because that really is it. When you start offering employee benefits, especially medical, it's probably your second or third line item on your overall budget after probably payroll, right? So it's a huge investment. So you want to make sure you're maximizing that and communicating it effectively. That's what we really help with. That Ryan and I do a good job with.
Hey, the buzzword, guys, I'm sure you're familiar with, is hybrid, right? Everybody wants to work hybrid now. Tell me how you help companies navigate through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So working hybrid, that could mean maybe you have an employee out of state, California, Colorado, Illinois, Minnesota. All of these states have different compliance issues and different things, and the compliance really comes down to where is the employee working. So the laws are going to be different for Minnesota compared to California. The PEO will make sure you're always in compliance, so it eliminates kind of that stress on the employer of, am I going to get in trouble from the IRS? Am I doing something wrong? Am I not offering this particular client in Colorado who needs to be offered PFMLA that's not offered in Minnesota? So it really streamlines and takes that stress off of the employer and make sure you're having all your T's and I's dotted and crossed. So
And one of the things, so we're part of some SHRM chapters around or the area, this HR, right? And so I'm in a couple big collaboration groups with HR folks. That's what I do. And one of the biggest issues that they face is that over state lines compliance, because every year different laws get passed. Half the time when the laws are passed, the state governments don't even know what the law is, right? So you got to go through the legal system and what does this mean, right? So when you're in one single state, for example, we're in Minnesota, that's enough just to swallow all of that. But now when you add, with the hybrid, uh, Dave, you're 100% right. It's like people are now, we have access to workforce in the whole country, right? And so now you times that by every state. And so that is a huge problem that companies these size face because you don't have the budget to hire the legal departments and the compliance departments or outsource, or have lawyers on retainer, right? So that's where a PEO and Ryan and I help with big time. So
So I work in as a fractional CFO, and I have an accounting firm that handles payroll. And so we have direct interaction with PEOs quite a bit, and I can speak to the benefit of having that PEO and kind of helping navigate that complexity. But that kind of leads into my next question. So as a fractional resource who's helping support companies with their payroll process, how do you guys see yourselves supporting fractional professionals? Like, what, as a fractional professional, how do I know when to reach out to you, or how can your services benefit us as a fractional? How can we partner together to support our clients?
yeah, I can answer that pretty simply. So especially on the PEO side, typically, so there's 700 PEOs in the country, plus or minus, right? And so all of them, there's probably 20 that are really good, right? But how do you know which one is the best for you? There is no perfect PEO. Some are better at some things than others. It's what are your needs. So traditionally with the PEOs, you would go direct. And so you would talk to their internal sales teams. No fault of their own. If you work there, you probably have to think of the best product, but it may not be. And so what we do, and especially with the fractional folks, is you call us. We function just like an employee benefits broker with the insurance companies, like a traditional broker, but with the PEOs. And so we bypass the internal sales teams. We represent, we're partnered with about 20 of the major ones. So all of the major ones, we have direct internal um, support staff at the PEOs, all of that, right? So from the fractional side, it's not about One is the PEO right? Is PEO right? And if it is, okay, which one? So that's where we step in and we counsel and we do a deep dive discovery. What are your needs? Maybe you don't need the Cadillac PEO because you really are focused on this segment. Okay, well, there's a huge cost savings by going from one to the other. And so we handle all of that for you, and we're transparent, we're independent, we work for the fractionals.
Is there a minimum size of company that could benefit from your services? And how does the initial finding of your services work? Do you go out and look for companies, or how do they find you?
Yeah, I can answer that. Minimum size, there's not a particular minimum size. Most PEOs can write down to if you have 5 employees or more. Once, when you're at 5 employees, a lot of times it can be beneficial, but with the medical, you can get maybe not the best rates. It's once you get to 10 to 15 employees is where we can really see a lot of benefit for the PEO coming in. I think our average size client is around 45 employees is where a lot of companies are at. So obviously some smaller, some bigger. How clients find us is a couple different ways. We've had requests come in through our where clients find us and through our website or through LinkedIn. Otherwise, through some of our current clients or current relationships with fractional CFOs, fractional HRs, or our current clients asking us saying, "Hey, Insperity sent me an email, gave me a call, knocked on my door, and they're looking for more information on that." And then Pete and I are also making calls and using our network to make introductions.
I think one of the things too I wanted, because so then it's like, well, what does this cost? Well, so here's the other benefit, and especially for the Frax, is because it doesn't cost you or your clients anything for our services. And the reason why is because just like with the medical insurance and group, we get paid from the PEOs. So we actually, and it does not make your PEO costs any higher. They know when you're represented that the amount of kind of diligence we do on the front end, we're going to get them the right PO and they're going to stay there for the long term. And so we actually get paid, and it's not a ton of money, but it's enough to make our time, worth our time. But where that benefits Frax is, especially for new fractionals that probably you don't have a budget, but guess what? You can call us and we're going to give you just as much of time and dedication as we would give a larger, more established person, because when we do the right work for you, then your client probably uses us and then we're paid, right? And so I always tell fractionals, use us as that resource. Call us up. It's not going to cost you anything. We work hard for you because eventually you're going to hire us with a client, or you're going to send us to one of your friends that has our services. And so it really is, we're really about that the go giver, right? We want to be a resource and make you look good so that you can succeed, because the better we make you look, you bring us along for the ride.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Pete and Ryan, for joining us today. It was great to hear about, to learn more about your role in the benefit space and more about PEOs and in particular how you can support fractional resources. So thank you so much for joining us. If you're listening today, thank you also for listening. And if you'd like to join the conversation, please feel free to reach out to us directly or follow our LinkedIn page at Ask a Fractional. Thank you so much.